But were you afraid to quit your stable, high-paid, I believe, job?
Shit scared. Yeah, I would say not just afraid. I think a lot of us at that age attach so much of our identity to our job. And in that profession in particular, because you work so many hours and the expectations are so high, you really have to tell yourself, this is the meaning and purpose of my life. So it's like saying, I'm no longer Chi, I'm going to be something else. And everybody, literally, my friends, well-intentioned, were saying things like, but you can never come back. This is the best industry. You work for the best firm in the best industry. Are you going to be okay with making peanuts? Like all of these questions. And it was scary. But I think there's also a part of me that has always been a little bit of a rebel, for better or worse. I could never believe something because someone said it. I had to do it, which means I made a lot of mistakes in my life. But I had to do it to learn it through the experience and to convince myself. So it was scary. I had support. My husband was very much like, you got to do the thing that, you're curious about. And I reached a point in my career, in my first career, where I felt, this is probably a good point to leave. I want to leave on a high. And so I did. And so far, so good.
Financially wise, I think that's the thing that many people are, why they don't take action or don't take this step. Because let's say you have 2 kids.
You have fixed costs, right?
You have a mortgage.
Absolutely.
And you're also used to some level of lifestyle.
Yeah.
I'm also a big believer that you need to do what you love.
Be passionate.
That's what I'm trying to do. I was in a corporate. I left, I wasn't Procter & Gamble doing marketing, but I left 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But I think the older you get, the harder it becomes to change your career path.
I can say what made it easier is even in my 20s, through the books I was reading, the studying that I was doing on my own, I realized that if I made certain choices, I would set up my life so that I could never change, right? If I bought a big house, had a big mortgage, got used to always having a designer handbag or only flying business class. And so I was very conscious, no matter what income level I was at, to go with the core values of what I thought was important, right? For some people, it's food. For some people, it's education. For some people, it's travel experiences. So no matter how much I made, I tried to keep the same spending pattern because I knew that would eventually translate into freedom. And I think a lot of people who read Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week, they'll remember this concept that he talks about, that people don't want more money. They want to live like they have more money. And for me, it was always, I don't want the big, nice things, the shiny things that are supposedly success, because that means entrapment. I am trapped in a lifestyle. And I'm trying to do the same with my children, to show them, and this is sometimes where my husband and I have disagreements. I say, yes, we can take them to really fancy places. Yes, we can treat them to nice things, but I don't want to do a disservice to them, such that when they graduate at 22 or 24, and they realize that actually the only way to have the same life that we gave them, they have to do a certain kind of job, then it cuts off their opportunity to explore an art, a creative passion, a freelance job, something more free form. So I really try to think about giving them things that I think a normal middle class life, if they, do okay, then they can afford it. That gives them the freedom to choose something other than money as an imperative for living.
I have this idea what I want to teach my daughters when they are older, when maybe they are 14 or 15, to teach them how to make $1,000 a month somehow, online. Yeah. Because it's not super difficult to make like 1K. There are tons of like options how you can do it.
That's cool.
But then if they're like 15, 16, they know how to do it. Let's say they finish their high school,
right? Yeah.
They can have a gap year. They can go to and a lot of places, especially in this region, where you can live nicely. Cheaply, for just 1K, especially if you're like 18, 19-year-old. And that kind of gives you freedom, because 100% I agree. Freedom, people think they want money, but they want freedom. Actually.
There you go. Yeah, wholeheartely. I agree with that. And I think it's also wonderful to find a partner and someone who co-parents, who believes in the same thing, because a lot of my friends, because of where I went to school and how I started my career, they married each other. And even if one person wants to take it easy or change paths, the other person is like, but hang on a minute, our lifestyle. And so, I never wanted to have the lifestyle be a stumbling block for life.
I think for me and my wife, we kind of Now we are matching each other more than before because she graduated the best university in Russia. She was like top student at school in the uni. Then she did MBA in INSEAD, like also top school in Singapore in France. And I was like have an average university. I was like always like more like into music, into sports, more like
you brought the creativity.
And when we started dating, she was like more about like our kids. If we have kids, they have to go to the best uni. And I was like, maybe they don't need uni. And now we are kind of closer to each other.
She's you're like, more like her.
I'm more like
she's
to
a bit
her,
more like
and she lowered her.
But that's a successful marriage. Take it from a marriage therapist. That's a successful union where you come closer to each other's views, right?